down because the fucking thing always catches my mouth being open or some stupid shit.
I was yawning and had like 17 chins the last time we did this, so.
It's never good.
It's not a good look.
So how does this work? If like 3 minutes go by and nobody's here, we just cancel school and I enjoy my night?
We're gonna enjoy our night being on school.
Hey, what's going on? Good evening, Amelia Rosio. What's up? Overtime Prodigy, Smoke Break. What's
Detroit.
good? What's good?
Hello.
DMK Sports.
Revolution.
Maddie, what's going on?
Hey, Mom. Big Jan making an appearance in the live. Shout out to my mom.
Peter Packman, whoever the hell that is.
Yeah.
504, what's good? What's good with you?
Hi, Mama.
So we'll give everybody a couple minutes to trickle in. Kemps, what's going on? There you go. Yes, sir. Go Bulls.
More Courtney, less Jeremy.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
I
thought we were cool, Revolution Russ. I thought we were bonding when I was down in St. Louis, you know what I mean, in your old town. And even though your reputation was shot to shit, you know, I was still, putting in a good word for you.
So our guest is already on.
Yeah.
We get started.
How about an intro, Court?
Okay. So Hobby Night School, as everybody knows, we've been doing this for a while now. Every Wednesday night we get on here and we talk about another hobby specific subject, and we bring on a special guest who is well versed in that subject and who can help us all learn something. Tonight we have Rip Pack Slabs coming on. I'm not sure how many of their members are going to get on. I know for sure Peter's here, so we're going to add him right now. And if any of the other guys join, we can link them in too.
Right there, the little red button, Court. Right there.
Okay, sorry.
I got you.
Sweet.
Get back up. I know, man. I'm just giving you shit, bro. I would never mess with the eBay police. You know what I mean? Hey, what's good? What's good, man? How are you?
Good. How y'all doing? What's up? Jeremy Court, what's up with y'all? How y'all doing?
Hey, man, we're hanging out with you. I'm actually really excited for the conversation tonight. The last couple weeks have been like starting up a card shop or doing something, and the engagement was incredible. Leading up to this week, when we started talking about inclusion and things like that, you could tell people were starting to get a little uncomfortable, and there was a different kind of engagement. And I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying you could tell the vibe was a little bit different. And so I would start out with saying, if you jump on this regularly and you're a part of this, and then tonight you tune out, you might be part of the problem. You know what I mean? If you're quick to jump in and be a part of these things all the time. And so, you know, we want to have fun. We want to build the community. We're all about positivity. However, you know, I think naturally the conversation is going to go somewhere where people get a little uncomfortable. And I think that's okay. But we're here to educate and grow. At least that's our goal. And so we're incredibly appreciative of you taking the time, because quite frankly, it's not your job to educate everybody, but I'm confident that there's a lot of people that are on that have a want and desire to understand somebody else's perspective, and, you know, also want to grow this hobby that we all, you know, love and care about.
I'm gonna drop. You should just drop the mic. We done. You said everything.
That's all I got. I got nothing else.
You read off my notes already, so I think we done here. No. Thank you, though, for real. I appreciate that. That's just, I've been talking to Courtney, you know what I'm saying? Just appreciating just y'all first as a family and what y'all do first and foremost as a family. And then how y'all portray that in the hobby, how y'all share that with the hobby. That's something that we relate to 104,000 million%. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing that attracted us to y'all. And then through that, little bits of conversations and things sparked. Honestly, we've been saying the same things ever since the last year and a half. Courtney actually heard us say it and said something, and then, you know what I mean? That's sometimes what it takes. You know what I mean? Like, yep. I'm a father. I tell my son something. Sometimes he won't listen. One of my kids something. They won't listen to me. They'll listen to somebody else. You know what I mean? So sometimes it just takes for somebody else's perspective to open it up and open that door. So, and that's also courageous of you all too. For me personally, just based on how the hobby can move, it shows me that you all are people first. because you are in a business, right? And we all in the hobby where we have a business, we want to profit. But the fact that you all know you have a business and know that this may upset or turn away a few people, the fact that y'all just willing to learn, y'all not, you know what I'm saying? Y'all and open up your platform for that. I just thought that that's an admirable, you know what I'm saying? That's an admirable thing. And that action, you know what I'm saying, is something that has to be taken kindly. So we appreciate you. I will say Rip should be on the way. He should make it. He's driving right now with the family. And Slab may not make it because his wife went out and he's home with the 3 girls by himself. So his girls are all young too. So they'll be running all through the camera. So
my man's on daddy duty by himself. I couldn't do it.
This is where we get lucky because we have Amelia and she is excellent with the littles. So we're very lucky to have her, and you know we pay her well for her services.
I would just say one thing. I appreciate the compliments, but I also think it just kind of shows where we're at as a society, that just being open to learning and understanding is deserving of a compliment. Kind of shows that we're not as progressive or where we need to be as a whole, you know, in my opinion.
I agree. I don't think having a frank conversation about somebody else's experience should be considered something brave. I think it's just human. So I appreciate that, though. I genuinely do.
Thank you, and I appreciate that for real. Thank you.
But it's not going to be all depressing tonight, or it's not going to be all negative. It's not going to be. We got seriously. Y'all just won the award for winning a Grammy, the platinum plaque. Lucas Tigers Nation awarded y'all something. You guys make incredible content that is, you know, it's more than just an expensive card. You know, it's relatable. It's fun. We're parents. You're always talking about what you're doing within your community. And as a father and as somebody who works myself, I find, you know, I gravitate towards that sort of thing. So, you know, we're going to talk about making content and, you know, kind of like where these ideas come from and how it all works. And Courtney's going to be the main driver of the conversation tonight, because I'll say something stupid and fuck the whole thing up. But, you know, just being brutally honest. So
I would like to, let's start with the hobby content, because I feel like it kind of lends itself to the direction we're going. And and seeing people represented in hobby content and why that's important. So let's just talk about how important you feel social media is to the hobby.
I feel, you know what, first and foremost, I feel it's very important, or it can be important. It can be a tool that's very, very useful. And I think a lot of us, the majority of us, have found a way to make that useful, especially when the pandemic hit us all, right? So just starting there as far as it, you can use it during the pandemic. I mean, it was something that before the pandemic, I didn't know that cards existed on social media. I was ignorant. I was blind. I was a closet collector myself, you know what I mean, for many different reasons, but I wasn't out there. Every few months I'd post my cards, but I'd collect, as you can see. You know, I'd never stopped collecting, you know what I mean? But I didn't know there was a community or communities out there for the hobby. You feel me? So during the pandemic, Marcus, my brother, came in and he wanted to find ways to invest in things like this. A little bit before the pandemic. He wanted to find ways to invest, and he wanted to start investing in cards. And that made me happy because I had been talking about cards our whole life. You know what I mean? So seeing my younger brother want to do something that I'm passionate about together was cool. So from there, he started collecting again. I was already collecting. We're breaking together or ripping wax together. We actually started a Discord. We started helping our friends and family invest in stuff before the boom. Like we were drinking the same Kool-Aid everybody else was drinking. We were breaking with our friends and family, teaching them about the hobby. And then honestly, we started seeing other people do certain things that were doing it better than us. And it made us feel good, and it made us just want to support them. Like, you know what? We don't have to do this. They doing that. And they doing it good. Like, we didn't know it existed. So we wanted, you know what I mean? We wanted to do it. So that's how social media came into play with us originally.
I agree fully, because I firmly think that with the growth of social media in the hobby, I can't tell you how many older card shop owners that I go in and they're like, oh no, I only have an eBay. And I'm like, they're doing themselves a huge disservice in my, you know, estimation, because think about all the people that I've done deals with or connected with, or now, you know, have created established long-term relationships with just through social media. And I think that like dismissing social media's importance to the hobby is like it's not just for showing off your cards anymore. It is for, networking. It's for creating relationships like the one we have. And I do think that's important. So with that, thought, how much time do you personally spend working on your content creation?
Just the content part, not a lot. Honestly, not too much time. Just the content part, because if we're just talking about, like, our whole package is kind of content. So if we're talking about the whole package as far as music and the brand and all the TikToks and memes and everything that comes with that, then a lot of time. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a lot of time. More so because we like to layer what we do a lot of the times, and just because we like to set things up for the future, you know what I mean, and layer a lot of things. So it takes time as far as thinking things out in the process and planning, but execution really doesn't take us. We don't take too much time executing or on something, even though certain texts can take longer than usual, whether it's musically or TikTok or something like that. But majority of the time, because it's fun to us, it's really, you know what I mean, it's just really on the go, and we do it when we want to, you know what I mean. And we're both all three of us are lucky in our own right, just like you, Jay. We have wives, we have women that hold us down, that allow us to do whatever's needed, whatever wanted, you know what I mean. And as long as we're holding up our end of the bargain, you know what I mean, and doing what we're supposed to be doing at the same time, they hold us down. So that allows more time for us to create together. We only spend once a week together, you know what I mean. 99% of the music and content that we made, 99% of it we made remotely during the pandemic. Like, we had a microphone here, a microphone at Slab's apartment in his closet, and then one at Job's house, you know what I mean. And we made it work. And that's why I say social media is gold, and just technology as a whole, and being able to utilize that, it's magical. But the time spent, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time altogether, because the music and the planning and the branding, and it's because there's so many other people that we want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? That we just can't think about ourselves a lot of the time.
Yeah, I agree. I'll get to a day where, like, I don't look like this every day. A lot of times I'm like a mess. I have 4 kids, we have homeschool. It's crazy. So on a day where I have like my makeup done, I will do like as many TikToks on that day as I can. And then I will put them in my drafts, and I will put them out as, I need. And I think people think it's overwhelming to spend every day doing content and thinking of new things, where I'll just like a lot of time of like where I'm like, okay, I look like halfway decent. I can put my face out there for people to see it. And this is the day, or the kids are all home, and I'm like, let's make like 3 or 4 TikToks. They love making TikToks. They love it. I swear to God, they love that more than they even love the cards. And they love the cards. So it's so funny. And that's something that we can all do together. And like you were talking about, like bringing people in and doing things together, and like engaging with each other. That's something that we can engage with as a family, and then put it out there for other people to relate to. And I think like relating to like and feeling invested in what somebody's doing helps connect people to not just that social media post, but the hobby in general.
Yeah, it's relatable.
Yeah. So do you think that pages that produce like just card related content and not a ton of cards, like there's a lot of pages that are just like meme pages that are like relatable, or like TikToks about like their favorite sports, or like there's guys that get on and just like do hobby updates on TikTok. Do you think that like specifically card related content, but not necessarily just pictures of cards that people have, is important to the hobby and growing the hobby?
I do think it's important, because it's a piece of the hobby that people can gravitate towards and can say that's theirs. They can add value to it without necessarily having to add that monetary piece at the moment, if they don't have to, or if they don't, want to. They don't have to feel inclined to do so. You can take something you're naturally good at or not good at, and play around with it in the hobby. You know what I mean? We never made music before August 2020. It was literally something we sat back and nobody else is making music about the hobby. Let's try it. You know what I mean? But we wanted to try it just one time. Let's just make a funny song and then be done with it. But Rip was like, nah, we're going to make history. You know what I mean? But like just that, being able to be creative in your own way. And with that, there's going to be people who come along and do it 10 times better. You know what I mean? Same thing with the memes and just with all the content. I feel everything helps grow the hobby because a bridge that may bring other people to come take a look at the hobby, and they might find something that they like, you know what I mean? Or they may be able to come add value. They may start a business, you know what I mean? I just think there's so much opportunity in the hobby. We can't look down on anybody, and it's an expression for some people. Like a lot of people are funny, whether they're funny or trying to be funny. It's an attempt, it's a feeling, it's an emotion. That's an exchange of energy, even though it's not the same exchange that we're used to and that we love, hugging, holding, giving dap, you know what I mean, kicking it with our friends and family. That's still an exchange of energy. That's still an effort, you know what I mean? So just appreciating it for that, the hobby, I take it as a positive, you know what I mean?
I fully agree.
I would also add that like you taking the attempt and saying, hey, we're gonna drop a track, right? And it might be comical, it might be our best work, might not be our best work. If it sparks somebody else to do it and they do it better than you, and you continue down that path, that's just gonna force you to level up, and it's just gonna grow the pie for all of us.
Exactly. Like y'all do with the content. Like literally, like y'all, now I'm at that breaking point. I keep it 100. After I never, this is what I hate and I love at the same time. I love to see it in a hobby, but a lot of the times I stopped doing memes because there were so many good memes, and it's to the point where, hold on, I don't want to redo somebody memes. And y'all do so much content, so much good content. It's like, you know what? Let me see if there's another angle I can take, because I don't want to, you know what I mean? But it's just, but to me, that's how much I'm inspired by y'all and people like y'all, how much I love seeing stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not a demoralizing, oh, let me stop. It's a, nah, that's so cool. I'd rather watch them do it in that lane, because while I like and enjoy doing it, I kind of enjoy watching them do it more. You know what I mean? So for real.
It is. There's a lot of like crossover, a lot of like a lot of people doing similar things, and I sometimes it's fun to see other people's takes on like a similar trend that's going on. So I like it. And I enjoy, like, we recently did a very similar sound and I thought it was cool. And there's another guy that I follow on TikTok, Back in the Cards, and we end up using similar sounds and doing totally different things. But it's so cool to see, like, how somebody else thinks about it. And I think that's cool and it's fun. And I don't think there's a lot of TikTok card people right now. I just don't. There's a few that are pretty big. What do you think is like the biggest social media in the hobby right now? And do you think it's going to change as the future goes?
Possibly. Right now, I believe, even though I'm not actively on it, I'd have to say it's Twitter, just because information-wise, nothing moves faster than Twitter. You know what I mean? So as far as information, but like I said, I'm not on, we have a Twitter handle, but we're not actively on Twitter at all. Instagram was pretty good for a while, but they put those restrictions on everybody's account. They just didn't single out, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like they banned the people they didn't like. They put, you know, those made it difficult for everybody's pages to get seen by any and everybody. So that kind of put a damper on everybody in the hobby. You know what I mean? So at least it's still fair and equal for everybody. But
everybody's shadow banned.
Everybody's shadow banned. I can see it changing though. I can see it changing. How, when, I don't know. But I know this, if we all can continue to drop 50 points a night in the lanes that we do, you know what I mean? Somebody's going to see it, and it's going to make somebody feel good. And that's all that matters. As long as it makes one person smile, educates one person, helps somebody out in the hobby one way or another, you know what I mean? And that means that content was worth it. Even if it only got 50 likes and you used to getting 500 likes or something, it don't even matter. You know what I mean? It's not about the likes, it's about the feelings and emotions. And that's going to get around for sure, for sure.
Yeah, and I think TikTok's growing, and I think YouTube is becoming like a really card heavy place. Do you think that there's room for more content, more card content on YouTube, or do you think it's kind of saturated at the moment?
There's definitely more room. There's so many different areas and lanes that are still uncharted in the hobby. And you know that, like, there's so many different avenues that have yet to even be started yet. You know what I mean? So just with that, there's going to be so many people coming out doing, like, come on, I know y'all can relate. And I don't care about this one. So my kids, a lot of times my kids like to hang out with dad and family. We have 4 kids too. All right, 3 boys and a girl. right? And we have family nights and we hang out, we watch movies. But when they're doing their thing, they like to go on YouTube and watch other families do things. Do your kids do this? Or are they
Yes,
too early?
why do they? It's like,
So
what?
who in the hobby is doing that? Like, it's just like they're gonna lay up for whoever. Like, just put a camera on you and my kids will watch it. Somebody's kids are going to, like, my kids watch other people have family time. It drives me bonkers. Like,
I used to give my kids so much crap about that. I was like, why are you watching other people play video games? Like, why are you watching other people play with toys? And then we started watching other people open cards and packs of cards on YouTube, and I'm like, ooh, am I a hypocrite?
Yeah.
But that's when I knew I was getting old, when I'm questioning my kids about everything. I'm like, that's not cool. Nobody else is doing it. And they're like, yeah, you want to bet, Dad?
I had someone say, were you born in the 1900s? And I'm like, is that what we're doing now? We're not saying, like, were you born in the 90s or were you born in the, we're saying 1900s? Like, no.
That's real. Wow.
That made me very uncomfortable. So, okay, so you've been talking about starting, like, a specific Instagram page. And I want you to talk a little bit about that, and then I want to talk about, like, why you think that's a good idea, because I think it's a brilliant idea. And then I want to, and then once we talk about that, I have a couple more questions to, like, grow from that point.
All right. So yeah, so an idea something that I've always had, and it's not my idea. It's not anything that I invented or created. Through many experiences and places in my life, environments in my life, there have been groups made to empower, made to teach, made to grow, made, you know what I mean? Created for a specific group or groups, right? So, prime example, I'm the Dean of Students at a K through 8 Montalvo Manor Elementary School in San Pablo, California. It's about 95% Hispanic school. You know what I mean? So those are the demographics. But we have groups and clubs within that. Like, we have an African American group, we have an Asian and Pacific Islander group, we have a Pride group, right? We have all these different groups at the school that any and everybody can be a part of and learn from. We have student council, right, where people want leadership skills or want to show off their leadership skills. So in the hobby, me as identifying as a Black male in the hobby from African descent of some sort. My father's from St. Lucia, my mother's from Haiti, right? So I'm a first generation American. But as it pertains to the hobby, I don't see a lot of Black presence, right? And for that, I thought it would be cool to have a space and through talking and meeting a lot of people in the hobby, and not just Black people, like a lot of people. I've learned more about my race and my history from white people, specifically through trading cards in the hobby too. You know what I mean? And in school too. Like, they've taught me my history. It's not like I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, I've learned from a lot of other people, Black people too, but I've learned from everyone. You know what I mean? So with that, the group, an African club group. I don't know if that's what it's going to be called, but that's the word I chose to use at the time, right? I had another name for it and I forgot it, and I hope it comes to me, because that was the real winner and it tied everything in. But it's the same concept. But it's a place where if you're a Black collector, if you're a Black hobbyist, if you're a non-Black collector and a non-Black hobbyist, maybe you don't identify as Black, right? You can still come here and be a part of something and learn about this culture. You know what I mean? It's a place where Black people don't have to come in and feel like they have to do something to be accepted, where they can show their face on their camera and on their Instagram, where they feel comfortable doing these things. I've had people let me know that they're uncomfortable. We've shared it. I've been uncomfortable at times in certain group chats and situations that didn't feel inclusive. You know what I mean? And for that, it's not something, it's going to be an open page. Everybody gets followed back. Everybody gets, you know what I mean? It's not just for Black people. Nah, that's not what it's about. But in the same tone that we have several different pages that are specifically intentionally trying to teach kids, right? Or trying to get kids into the hobby. That's needed. We need kids. That's diversity. Kids are a minority in this hobby. Women, we have women in the hobby. We have women on tops. We have you, Mama Breaks. We have so many different wonderful, Christina. We have so many different women in the hobby, right? when I first got into the hobby, I didn't know these women existed. And there's plenty more. Tanya, there's so many more. Love Who You Collect. I didn't know these women existed. I thought there were 0 women. I was ignorant. You know what I mean? So a way for me to find was to go digging and intentionally look. Like, I want to look. I want to find it. I want to be diverse in this hobby. I want to learn from everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't look and feel like that in any setting in my 30 years of collecting. You know what I mean? Even though sometimes it does feel great. I get love sometimes, you know what I'm saying? It's not like it's it's all bad. I get somewhere and it's racism. I've never experienced racism in the hobby because nobody has power over me. See, I use the word racism differently. I've been biased and prejudiced and judged and all that, yeah. But nobody has power over me, so they don't have the ability to be racist to me. They can call me any name they want. They can say anything they want. That's not racism to me. That's not racist to me. That's not what the word means to me. You actually have to be able to put me in a position and a whole bunch of other black people and oppress us. Then you're racist. You know what I mean? Other than that, you're acting like it. You may want to be one, but you don't have the power to be one. So nice try. You know what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely. I think that's a brilliant idea. And I think it's really great because one of the larger comments that I was getting in our poll that I was doing was like, I don't know if I follow any Black content creators. I don't know if I necessarily follow any women content creators because we just see their cards and sometimes people aren't actively showing their face. And then that got me to thinking, if there's, young Black boys and men and women that are collecting and they're not seeing themselves represented, maybe they feel like this isn't a space for them. So if there's a place where they can easily go and find people that represent them and that there's a large group of them that are collecting, then they can feel more seen and want to be more active in the hobby. And that's how I felt about women in the hobby when I saw their page. I was like, that's awesome because here is an easy space for me to go find other women that collect and who may understand some of the things that I'm experiencing, because sometimes it's not always, like you said, like people only have power over you if you give it to them. And I have experienced that where someone was like sort of disrespectful to me because I'm a woman. And I, typically
I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that as a man.
You don't have
even
to
though but I know I don't, but I will though, because I don't know if he did. You know what I'm saying? I know Jeremy was gonna put 2 hands around his neck, but it was but dude did it over the on the internet, so he wasn't man enough to do it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sorry for that, because as a man, even though I didn't do that specifically, that's a man energy, and I gotta own that. You know, if it's in the world, it's in me. So I apologize for that.
I genuinely appreciate that. And I think that it gives you a space to feel seen and feel heard and feel like there's other people who understand sort of like maybe what you're thinking and like how you would collect cards and just like make you feel like, oh, I do belong here for sure. Like this is a spot for me and there's other people. So
she just wrote down man energy, and I know she's writing that down because the next time I do something that pisses her off, she's throwing that at me.
For sure.
My bad.
Thank you for that. That was awesome. I'm gonna be like, this is man energy, and you need to apologize to me right now.
Let me ask you this one thing, and I want to be mindful of the people that are coming in. A lot of comments are like, hey, how do you separate what's real and what's just for entertainment? And, because on any given day, we might just be like, hey, we want to be brutally honest and, like who we are. Because not every card that we have is a 6-figure card. I mean, we do stupid stuff, and that's what spawned Hobby Night School. Is like, we're fortunate enough that we can afford to make some mistakes, so we're going to share us. We don't take ourselves too serious when it comes to a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. So like, how do you balance like, hey, this is just pure entertainment. We're going for likes. We want to get some attention, or hey. And I know you give us the real life because you're walking around at the school, disciplining kids, telling them to get to class, teaching them how to jump rope, doing all that. Today it was with the fence. Like, how do you balance that, or how do you in your mind work that out?
Well, it's kind of easy because 90%, 95% of what I do is family or work, community. You know what I mean? And that's all I know. I'm fortunate. A large part of my life, that's all I've done. I've only had to work 1 other job or 2 other jobs in my life that didn't have to do specifically with working with children. You know what I mean? So that right there is where a lot of my mistakes And a lot of my lessons are learned either through trial and error, through the kids teaching me, adults teaching me, parents teaching me, learning from what somebody is doing, what somebody's not doing. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the hobby, and it's the same thing for Rip and Slab, for Marcus and Javid, we just want to make it the same exact way. Like I know it's like y'all with y'all family. Like I can tell y'all are family. Y'all do the same things that y'all do together. Y'all just throw cards into it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing for our family. That like Javid and Marcus is my brother and Javid is my cousin. We're blood. We're related. We're family. You know what I'm saying? We're family. So it's easy for us to come into the hobby and separate the real from the fake. And like also like with our content too, to pick and choose what. Like it's easy. No, like I'm the dean of students at a school. Like their kids tune in. I've never rapped about anything in my life. I started rapping about cards when I was 37 years old. Like, you know what I mean? I have to play this role. I have to, like, even when I'm not rapping about cards, you know, when I go outside as an educator, kids are still watching me. I have to uphold this 24/7, no matter what. Somebody's always watching me. If I walk outside and my kids are going to copy any and everything I do. I'm just going to put it to you like that. So yeah, I know that. So with that, it's easy for me to separate the real from the fake, right? But yeah, I can't speak for anybody else. You know what I mean? Or I really haven't put myself. If I had to put myself back in that position, there have been times I had to learn to separate the real from the fake. Man, I made a lot of mistakes. I ain't gonna lie. I trusted the real as fake and they were fake. I trusted the fake as real and vice versa. And I made a lot of mistakes, and I just learned to just trust self first and foremost, and still trust people, but trust that people are going to be who they are, and trust them for who they are, and value the good in them. And if you feel like it's, you know what I'm saying, or the situation or the person isn't real and it's fake, you just distance yourself from it. You know what I mean? But it's easier said than done.
I think you've been very successful. Your page has grown, you know, exponentially. People really like what you have to say or, you know, what you're doing. And I think the genuineness is what grows pages more than people like being someone they're not. And I think that I think what you just said totally speaks to that. I think being your real self and like your lumps and your wins and sharing like what you're doing and what you're trying is really important. And
hold on. And I would add, and I got in trouble as a kid too, right? But you learn from that. And I realized that was a great power with kids because we did like Big Brother program and things like that. You come across as more relatable because you've had real life experience. You've dealt with things that the kids can relate to. And when you say something or you have an action, they're more inclined to listen or watch what you're doing because they know it's authentic.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna tell y'all the story. I said this story. I believe I said this story on my IG story earlier today. But back in 2008, 2009, I was living in Austin, Texas, and I was working at the Twin Lakes YMCA. And this is the first time that I'm not working in the hood. I'm used to working in Oakland, California. I'm used to working in Richmond. I'm used to working in the hood with kids that I know. You know, they're coming from single parent households. They don't have this, they don't have that. Not all of them, but a lot of them don't have. There's still a lot of positive, but that's what I'm used to. So that was my mindset, right? I was ignorant. I was naive. There was a lot. I was young, you know, inexperienced. There was a lot I was at that time. So I ended up, before I got the job at the Twin Lakes YMCA, I was working at Victoria's Secret during the day, and I was working at Target at night. I was working two jobs, and it was my first two jobs, never having to work with kids, you know what I mean, ever in my life. And I said, man, I got to get out of here. So one day on my lunch break, I saw some YMCA kids on a field trip, and I went and applied for a camp counselor and got a director position, right? And this is in a predominantly white neighborhood, like community, Cedar Park, Austin, Texas, right outside of Austin, predominantly white, 98%, you know what I mean? Either white or well off as far as upper class, you know what I mean? And that's who hired me and gave me a higher position that I applied for. I didn't even ask for. They looked at my resume and they thought I was equipped for it, right? But look, I'm still ignorant. I go in there the first few weeks and I'm like, wow, these kids have money. They come from money. They don't need me. What am I going to do for these kids? They don't need me. That was my mindset. I was wrong, y'all. You know why? Because a few weeks later, here come a parent 2 hours late to pick up their kid. I'm like, hold on, I noticed this behavior. That's neglect. Like you're doing it over and over again. That's neglect. These kids, they got money, but they still being neglected. Hold on, this parent is coming in drunk time and time again to drive your kids home. That's abuse. That's neglect. So these kids, your kids still go through the same emotions and feelings. Not the same, a lot of the emotions and the feelings that kids go through on a day-to-day basis as far as fear and, you know, what the things that they face in the school that us adults don't even know how to face these feelings yet. You know what I mean? So that humbled me. You know what I mean? That humbled me. Those kids taught me that. That community taught me that man, you can't look at things like that, Peter. So then I learned from that community. They trusted me. You know what I mean? Here goes me, a black guy, and a room full of kids. I'm rocking babies. I'm in the nursery rocking 6 babies at a time, 2 arms, while telling people to get off the play structure, and the parents trusted me. You know what I mean? So just to show that growth and that love. But I came into it with the wrong mindset. I came into it like, oh, y'all got everything. Y'all don't have no problems. But I was wrong. It may not be the same problems, but it's a problem though.
I think it's the human experience, and I think people forget that like regardless of skin color, we're all humans, and we all experience things regardless of, you know, our race. And I think that's a very valid and frankly a very awesome point that you made. So when we were talking about your page that you wanted to create, do you think that seeing more women represented in women, you know, women focused, women centric pages, seeing more, you know, Latin centric pages, seeing more black centric pages where we're uplifting these people that maybe aren't as visible in the hobby, do you think that will bring more people in and grow the hobby that way? Is that what your mindset is? Because I think that's what I think, but I'm curious to what your opinion is on that.
Yes and no. I feel people should do what they please. I don't fault anyone for not doing it. It's an observation, right? I don't see this being done. So me being 38 and with a microphone and all these resources, let me do it myself. That's how I feel. If, like you all, right? If something triggered you and it's like, you know what? We feel we need to do this. So then y'all doing it. And Jeremy, like you said, this can't be no one-off thing. Not to say this is what y'all gonna do every single day now, but no, you know what I mean? It's something that's, it's a core value now. It's something that we stand on. It's a part of all of our culture now. There's this inclusiveness and this empathy. You know what I mean? I feel somebody said it in the chat earlier. We don't share each other enough. I don't share enough people. As much as I share people, I don't share enough. You know what I mean? We have to take that accountability on ourselves. Before I expect anybody else to do it, I have to show that first. So you know what I mean? I feel that I know I've begun to see a lot more people do those actions, and I see what those actions do for the feeling, you know what I mean? And that relationship, like you were talking about, Courtney, those relationships, they build those relationships. But yeah, I don't feel like anybody should do it unless they want to, you know what I mean? Or unless they want to. You don't have to have an ulterior motive. If you really like the page, just take time to learn different things or learn about different people, different pages. You know what I mean? It doesn't just have to be black people. That's not what I'm saying. Like, man, my number one hobby page is Giant Legend, Cindy Dick. That's the GOAT to me. I learned everything from Auntie. That's my auntie. Like, everybody knowing the hobby, that's my auntie. So cool. That's my auntie. Like, I could call her right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's how tight we are. And she's taught me more about me, who I am as a man, as a black man, than a lot of people have in my life. You know what I mean? So, and she didn't have to do that. And that was somebody she was before that. But if you're not that person now, it's okay to take a little piece of something and make it you and then work towards it. Nobody's asking for a switch and all of a sudden this is that. Nah, you know what I'm saying? Just read the first page of the book. If you like it, read the second page. You're going to find some stuff you don't like. That's not what we're looking for here, man. If you find something that you like, share it to somebody else. You don't necessarily have to share it on Instagram. Tell a friend or show somebody, you know what I'm saying? So there's different ways. If you think it will make somebody else smile or make somebody else some money, you know what I mean? Share that thing. Or so if it's really your, or like, yo, before I reached out to y'all and said, man, y'all content rock, I shared like 30 videos.
You did. I was like, oh my gosh. And then we were already following you because I loved your stuff. So when you started sharing our page, I called Jeremy. He was at work. I'm like, Peter Packman just shared a bunch of our videos and he said that they were good. I felt like starstruck because I loved your stuff.
Man, but that's you know what I mean? I need to be more consistent with that. Of course, it's difficult there's so many people. I like to follow everybody because I want to know what everybody's doing, but it's impossible to see 6,000, you know what I'm saying, pages.
Oh yeah, for
But at
sure.
the same time, it's easy to press that envelope, you know what I'm saying, that paper airplane and share something. That's nothing. Or it's easy to tell Slabby, look at this. I called Slabby and Rip instantly after I saw your page. Hey, y'all, reckless? Hey, they go crazy, bruh.
I think it's funny because I don't think that like if you like you're a big way bigger page than us. So when someone who's like bigger than you shares your stuff, it's exciting. Like you feel like seen and you feel like wow, like what I'm doing is mattering because someone who is more like known than I am is like recognizing my work. And I think that you know, when we first started this, we were just like we had cards that we've been collecting since we were kids and we're like, "Oh, you know, let's share them on Instagram." And then it was like, "Oh, people are liking it and starting to follow us." And then it, you know, we started making connections and our page kind of grew in a really I think organic way, and that like we started doing stuff like how can like now that our page is getting bigger, how can we give back and do more for like smaller you know, pages and like people who are just starting and don't know what they're doing, like how can we use our page to be a better platform for the hobby. And I think when we talk about inclusion, like we've been talking about, I think you deciding to use your page or create another page to, you know, build up voices that maybe aren't getting heard, I think that's incredible and I think it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And also too, just on that same on that same thing, it's like how am I gonna put this? Let me put this in the right. Let me put this the right way. Y'all came up in a time. I gotta tip my hats off to y'all first and foremost because from what I can see, y'all came up in a time during the shadow ban. So you know what I'm saying, to do everything that y'all doing, like I can only imagine. You know what I'm saying? Because that can be for people who look in on that. That can be very 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 frustrating. You know what I mean? But like you said, the fact that we saw it, I don't consider us a big page. I don't think. Like you said, I think people should definitely be inclusive and use empathy and all that, but not because the person is this or that. Do it because you like the person. You genuinely like what they're doing. If they just so happen to be Black, I just want to highlight a lot of Black people who I feel are more awesome than us, just as awesome as y'all, who nobody knows about. And I feel like if they're here, you know what I mean, then maybe there can be a central place people can go and find out about them. You know what I mean? So that's another, I feel, benefit and positive to a platform or a space like that, for real.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I don't think getting like the number, we would be lying if we said, you know, there's like a dopamine release, right? When you get on and you get an awesome comment, or when Courtney disrupts like a multi-million-dollar meeting for a construction project because she's excited because you shared a video, and she's messaging me like one of the kids died, and I'm like, I stepped out, I said, excuse me, I'm like, hey, what's going on? She's like, hey, you'll never believe it. I'm like, what's going on? She said, Peter Packman shared our video, and I was like,
it's not even exaggerating. So stupid.
So I went in, I got done, I excused myself, and I was like, all right, Court, I mean, that is dope, that is seriously cool, but you had me scared. But for us, like, if you can impact even one person, right? And we've made, like, the way I look at it is cards have turned into, like, as a vehicle to cultivate dynamic relationships where if it wasn't for cards, we're never having this conversation. And I guarantee there's somebody that's listening in who is either being educated or is looking at things through a different lens where they're going to go have a positive impact on somebody else's life. And so I think, you know, as we talk about like social media and building content, like the cards are a vehicle that brings us together, but we're actually using that to have a positive impact on somebody somewhere, I hope.
You're saving somebody's life. You're making somebody smile. There's certain people who go to your content just to get that laugh to start their day when they're feeling down. I know that. I go to your content, to your page for that. You know what I mean? So, and I know that. So just like you said, Jeremy, that's all facts. You know what I mean? It's really, that's why I said, like, the social media is gold. It allows us to connect. It allows us to get that feeling from people, you know what I mean? That energy that we need instantly that we're so used to. You know what I mean? And I think we just gotta take the positives from it.
And I'm
For
sure
sure,
you
for
come
sure.
across this too when you've put something out there and someone reaches out to you and says something like, that really helped me, or I never looked at it that way, or I wouldn't have done this if you wouldn't have like had, this content up where I was like, wow, if this person can do it, I can do it too. And like that goes back to your music, and we see a lot of like I know I feel like I'm rambling, but I do have a point to this. You guys are the first ones out.
Women energy, Courtney. Let's go. Tempo.
when you're the first one to do something, like you guys are the first one that I've seen that put out like a card album, like where you're singing about cards, and that's so cool because we all love cards and like having like cool music that's coming out now. We're seeing more crossover and more mainstream. We see art that's like card related art. I've seen beautiful murals of like sports cards that people have painted. And do you think that there's going to be more card related music? Do you think you're going to hear more like even bigger mainstream like artists like starting to talk about this as the card industry becomes more mainstream?
From the music, starting from the music and the hobby point, we've already starting from almost instantaneously. The first week we started doing it. Jake the Grader down in SoCal, he's from NorCal, but down in SoCal, he makes hobby music, fresh out the pack from all over the country. He always traveling, working, hardworking, family man. He's an artist. He makes amazing hobby music, sports card analytics. We made a Christmas hobby, like 3 or 4 songs together in 2020. Spreetail, my brother is another hobby artist. There's some people out in Canada that made a song that go crazy. Mint Inc. They made a hobby track that go crazy. So for us, we really want this to be something that people can gravitate towards and they can add value. Somebody's gonna come along, and do it in ways that we didn't even think of, that nobody's thought of, and it's just gonna put more value onto the hobby and allow more people to get on it. I don't believe, not that I know of, unless there's already a mainstream artist that has that same nostalgic connection to the cards, you're not going to get the same type of music from that person. You might get somebody to shell out some money for something, maybe for a pump and dump project or for something. Yeah, you can get an artist to make a song, but what artist is going, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's a great money grab, but like we never made music before August 2020. Like you can't Google our names in any form or fashion and find me rapping about anything in life. I never tried it. It was never a passion of mine. My father plays the steel drum, so there's music in us, you know what I mean? But I come from a musical background, but I never tried to make anything rhyme in my life. It was with the cards that we saw an opportunity to create and add value. And at first, we just wanted to do it for ourselves. We were making skits. We were taking our favorite childhood movies and turning them into hobby skits. You know what I mean? Right. And then from there, like I said, we just wanted to keep on doing something in the same, from our culture, something that we know other people who may not like the hobby or don't have a way into liking the hobby. Well, if you see this, Javid didn't know about the hobby. Javid played in the NFL, ran in the Olympics, signed a bunch of cards, you know what I mean? And it wasn't until 2020 he called us and said, "Oh, that's what I was signing for." Like he literally, like our skits that we were making from the movies made him say, "Oh, what are y'all talking about?" Then he started investing in cards, you know what I'm saying, and things like that, and learning about it. And then we started just creating together, and he came up with the idea for the music, and it was just, I'm happy he did, because it's like I said, it started with just being us three. We said, just like with me and Marky Slab with our skits, if we like it, if it makes us laugh, we're gonna do it, all right? And then naturally one other person like it, then 2 other people like it, then somebody else likes it, and even if that's the only 4 or 5 people that like it, that's cool with us. You know what I mean? If it, like you said, Jay, if it saves one person, bro, or helps one person, man, that's a blessing, man.
Amen.
I fully agree. I think that's so cool. I have enjoyed this entire conversation so much. Like, this has been so great. Do you have any more like bits of wisdom you'd like to share before we announce what our giveaway is going to be tonight?
Oh,
I'm giving you open floor. Whatever you want to talk about.
Do I have a little bit of wisdom? Man, I don't. Oh man, I wish I could. Man,
He's dropped nothing but wisdom for 50 minutes, and Courtney wants more.
I said last little bit. You don't have.
It's never enough, dude. It's never enough. She's just gonna ask for some more.
Oh no, y'all couldn't hear me. Dang, I went away. Oh, okay. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Is there a way for me to, on this phone, is there a way for me to still look at my screen and be on here? I do have something for y'all. I do have something for y'all that I do want to give y'all. Hold on, let me
Go
make,
for it.
hold on, give me 5 seconds to make the transfer to here so I can see what I'm
Gotcha.
doing. Hold on.
Now you gotta keep it. Now you have to.
I'm reading the comments. Women energy. Is Zion a good investment?
I mean, there was a lot of good comments. I just didn't want to cut them off.
Oh yeah, people were. This has been like fun. This was a fun one.
Yeah. Maybe he just pieced out. He said, enough of this bullshit. I'm out of here.
No, I think he's looking for something.
Hey, I can still hear y'all.
Oh,
Hold on. I'll be right back.
Okay. Give this dude a break.
All right, I'm back. What you say about my mama, Jeremy?
Wonderful woman who raised an incredible son.
Thank you.
A queen.
All right, so here we go. I do got something for y'all. And something's just for y'all and for the people who came in here tonight, but specifically for y'all. We usually don't do this because we do it for people who we value. I'm not gonna lie. For people who make us feel valued and who we value, we do go out our way. You know what I mean, and do certain things. This is just something. Let me see. Let me find something real quick. Let me find something. Can y'all hear that?
Yup.
Yeah.
All right, that'll work. I don't know if I like that beat. I don't like that beat. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I don't like that beat. I got something for y'all. And it's just for y'all. This is nobody else. This is just for y'all.
We getting bars right off the dome?
I mean, it's not off the dome. I wrote these. I don't know how to do nothing off the dome. You know what I'm saying? I am a rapper now, I guess, but I'm not a rapper like the real rappers, like all my friends and people who really do it. Nah, I'm a hobby artist, so it's different. All right, I don't like this beat either,
it's real.
but we gonna make it work. Here we go. All right, we gonna make it work. Where we at? All right, Reckless, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, all right. Hey, thank you everybody for tuning in. Real quick, just 4 bars. Look, hobby value, you can't put it on a necklace. We with family breaking boxes like we reckless. Hobby night school, sleep on wax and break for breakfast. Court J, we need y'all on off the checklist.
Oh my god, that was
What's
so
up?
amazing. Like, I seriously feel
What's
like I would cry. Nobody's ever done that before for us. That's
What's
That's
up?
awesome.
We need
Thank
y'all on off the checklist too. We want to open up our platform and invite y'all on and talk y'all. You know what I'm saying? I really want to take a dive into y'all so my community gets to see y'all and appreciate y'all and value y'all for who y'all are. In the same way, I want everyone else's don't drop that. Everyone else's community to value people. You know what I mean? When I'm in school, there's something that I used to do before the pandemic was I used to bring the police department into my school, which is a very touchy thing for the community. They used to look at me like, Coach, you a snitch, right? And then a lot of the police were very afraid. But I wanted the kids and the people to see the cops as people, and I wanted the people to see the kids as people. You know what I mean? So for that's how our off the checklist is just like this is kind of framed. And I love to have both of y'all on. The kids could be running through the back. We would prefer having the kids on there and it being like crazy and chaotic. And we can ask them some questions too about feelings and emotions and how they feel. So everybody can relate to it. But man, y'all have been a blast for real, for real. I don't care what anybody say, man. We reckless all the way, man.
Oh, thank you. I feel that was like an honor to have someone do that. That was so cool. I'm like without words, which is rare for me.
Yeah, I would say that that's pretty powerful stuff that you said. And I think that I hope that people, when they walk away, it's not just a conversation. It's one ear in, one ear out the other. I hope that there's some action that as a result of the conversation. And I'll throw it out there. We are down in any capacity to help any sort of movement that you all, take part in. And we want to help, even outside of cards. It doesn't have to be card related. You know, we want to impact people's lives in a positive way. So please know that we'll make ourselves available any way possible.
Absolutely. Anything.
Appreciate y'all. And right
It's a
back
good
at
cause.
y'all.
We are there
Yeah,
for
we're
it.
gonna continue to grow organically together. If there's a need for something, we'll figure it out together.
I'm just like blown away by this night. This was a great night. So
You was about to give something away, huh?
we do. We give away something every hobby night school, and this time whoever wins this is gonna have to wait a little bit, but it will be worth it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna buy someone your album when it drops. So if somebody tonight is gonna get the album that you guys are dropping on the 28th, and we're gonna buy it and have it sent to them.
Yeah, so slide into the DMs afterwards. We'll send payment immediately because as an artist, you need to be compensated for your time and effort. And when the album drops, they'll send it to you.
So here's
And if they don't, that's on them. We'll send you a proof of the receipt. You can take it up with Peter.
So here's what we do, Peter. Every time we do one of these classes, we have you write a number 1 through 20 on a piece of paper somewhere around you.
Okay.
And then we want you to watch the feed. And the first person you see that says your number 1 through 20, you call it out, and they're the winner.
All right.
It's on your side, though, because the feeds sometimes are different, so we want it to be from your side. So,
And fair warning, 504 person guesses 13 every time. It's like when the people play the picture game and they keep guessing and it's wrong and as if the answer is going to change.
all right, guys. So let's start right now, 1 through 20. And when Peter sees your number, when he sees it, whoever he calls out first is the winner, and you get the album.
1 through 20. Let's get those guesses up. Dang is not the answer, 504. Thank you for participating. You can excuse yourself from the live.
On 504, really go with the 13 every time. Huh?
Somebody's still gonna guess 7. Watch, see?
Oh, pull my card, got it. It's 4.
Four.
Pull my card. Congratulations, pull my card. Slide into the DM. We appreciate everybody hanging out. This was very informative, and you know I'm usually loud, and I decided today. I told Courtney this is important. I want to make sure I walk away with some value. I'm going to shut up a little bit and try to absorb it and see it through somebody else's eyes and kind of like truly be present and hear what they're saying. And I'm truly appreciative of your time, my man.
Yeah, I agree. And if you guys haven't checked out Rip Pack Slabs, any of their songs, go check out their page. They have the singles that they've released so far are available to listen to on YouTube. When we post this up on YouTube, we will make sure to link all of that so that you can check it out. Make sure when their album drops on the 28th, you're picking it up too, because we will definitely be doing that.
If you buy a $1,000 hobby box, you can buy a $10, $15, $20 album.
It's gonna be cheaper than that. I think it's way cheaper than that. I think that was like $8 or $9 or something like that. But
well, we might buy a bunch more and give them
party.
out.
And big ups to you, Peter, because
too.
you held the whole crew down. They ghosted you.
See, I mean, I'm lucky. I get my permission slip signed a lot more than they do. You know what I'm saying? If you understand what I mean. I'm allowed. I got a lot more freedom they're allowed to do. They do a lot more than I do in that same breath. You know what I mean? So once I get off here, I got a lot of making up to do. But it's never, you know what I'm saying? It's never that. But yeah, they ghosted me for a good reason. It's always family. What's up, everybody in the chat? Thanks for everybody for stopping in. Album release party, same day, the 28th. 28th, that night, Friday night, we're going to have an album listening party live on YouTube. We're going to be ripping wax. We're going to be giving stuff away. We'll give away the album, to pull my card to Joe that night too. Same night. Whole bunch of stuff. We're ripping some exquisite wax too. I'm bringing some stuff out. I'm going to rip this.
Wow.
This. I want to rip a lot of 12, 13. I want to go Kobe hunting for real, for real.
There you go.
That'll be fun. Well, that's exciting. We will be there for sure.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for real, for real. We're going to continue to connect for sure.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Make sure you check out his stuff, guys. And thank you again. Have a great night.